Today in Tracey's basement we have the conclusion of the Forgotten Folios Project Open Sky. Welcome back to the basement, welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. Today I have part 4 of the Forgotten Folios Project Open Sky story, and this is the conclusion. So I looked into it, I have it on good authority that part 4 is the conclusion of the Project Open Sky story. So first of all, right off the bat, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out the links in the description box below. I'm going to link to parts 1, 2, and 3, because without the other parts, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In part 1, I explain more about what Forgotten Folios is, and throughout the 3 parts we get more and more of the bits and pieces of this story as they are coming together. And yeah, if you don't go back and watch those other 3, this probably won't make a whole lot of sense. So I strongly urge you to check out those links in the description box below, watch everything in order. It barely makes sense as it is because it's bits and pieces of a story, so if you don't watch them together, you're probably not going to have any clue what I'm talking about. So, Forgotten Folios, Project Open Sky. I won't do a big, huge recap because at this point there's just too much information, but overall we have a company called Bailey Inc. We have a guy named Pat Bailey who created a machine for running ciphers or something of the like. It has to do with cryptology during the war. We have a lady named Ada who I guess was a cryptology prodigy who came to Canada from, I believe, Germany. We have transcripts from chat room where somebody from Forgotten Folios was trying to speak to Ada, but she disappeared at some point and didn't talk to them anymore. And we have a Mateo Rodriguez, who worked for Bailey Inc., was upset because he wasn't getting to actually really do much and help out. They had him doing filing, but during the filing he got into some documentation of Pat Bailey's, which the German company who overtook Bailey Inc. Did not like, and they had him apprehended. That was where we left off. This poor Rodriguez guy had been apprehended for possibly screwing around with these files that they didn't want him to touch. So, more or less, that is where we stand at this point. So let's get into package number 4 of the conclusion of Project Open Sky. My last pretty red wax seal. I love the wax seals so much. I keep going on about them, but it's just cool. How can you not think a wax seal is cool? So, we have package number 4. I think there's a photo. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. We have a photo from AEG Bailey Engineering Limited. It looks like a Polaroid. It says Dallas. That's either the 3rd of January or the 1st of March of 1979. And I'll get a good shot of that so that you guys can see it better, but basically it looks like I'm not sure if it's actually at the company, or it almost looks like they're at some kind of a conference, or like, you know, going out and displaying information about the company to the public kind of a thing. Like, it looks like they're all set up to talk about the company. And there's a guy standing there with a red binder. The image is way too small and blurry to really make out anything that's like on the wall or anything. But very interesting, a little Polaroid picture of the company. That's cool. I like how they do the little like artifacts, and it's just neat. It's just really neat. So we have another crumpled piece of paper, and this one is not a memo like previous ones. This one is to Mateo Rodriguez from Ms. Charlie Williams. Hola, Mateo. I told you back at Intel what the risks were. You're right though, I am a bit smug about you regretting your decision. If you ever feel like the private sector isn't cutting it out for you, let me know. There are plenty of folks here who could learn a lot from you. Think about it. Also, nice to hear from you finally. I was just thinking about you the other day. I found a bunch of photos from our trips. The whole gang's here. Mama Frida and the boys from Intel and Bailey in Toronto and Ajax. some random snaps from Spain and Argentina. You'd love these. I'll send along some in the post. You were right about these diagrams. Looks like old Pat Bailey was building himself a new CPU. The design is real amateurish, modern processor, but with some sort of punch card system. Whole machine is set up to be modular. Damn thing has a spot for radio too. It's like Frankenstein's monster. I mentioned it to a few people in the engineering building. A few of the professors recognized it, worked on it years ago, and were still upset about it. Pat convinced them to work on this new computer that was supposed to revolutionize cryptography. God knows how he came up with the idea, but he had funding for it. They put it together out of mostly used parts. Seems Pat was real insistent on this unusual design. But it turned out the thing wouldn't work, and so funding got cut. Pat got them all to take the thing apart and put it back together in the basement of his house on King's Crescent. A few years back, some folks from the university ran some cable all the way out to his house. Pat had rigged that monster to connect to the internet for some reason. I reckon Pat Bailey is the first citizen in Ajax to have an IP address. Crazy story, hope it helps. Let's talk more soon. Adios, Charlie. There you go. That's pretty interesting. So I don't know if this was sent before or after Mateo was apprehended. But we have a little bit more information on Pat's machine, which apparently didn't work, but maybe he got it to work when it was moved to his house. Very, very odd. We have another crumpled piece of paper. And, oh darn, it's more Morse code! So I'm gonna have to translate this. And I'd love to translate it for the video, but in order to do so I would have to stop the video and go get my computer and everything. So maybe I'll just put up an overlay here somewhere that says what this says, because I would feel bad if this was the final video for this story and you guys don't get to find out what the Morse code reads. So somewhere here-ish, I will have an overlay that says what this code is, and you guys can pause it and read it if you want. I'll give you a moment. Oh, okay, there you go. So we have the more Morse code. I will translate that ASAP and get that in the video for you guys. We also have, once again, more of this internet chat room conversation. So as with the previous videos, I'll take a quick run through it and let you guys know what it's all about. Okay, so this is kind of weird. So Steven is in the chat room talking to the role players, and they're just wondering what he's all about. So he's explaining that they were researching about Pat. He was interesting, it says, did a lot of work in cryptography during World War II, and we found a lot of documents about him, a bunch of old Morse code. We wanted to tell a story about it, and while we were doing research we stumbled onto some people in Ada's fan club. The way she makes appearances like this reminded us of Pat's conversations on the radio, and we wondered if there was a connection there. So blah blah blah, they explained that they're from Forgotten Folio Society. Then Ada shows up, and they kind of explained to her, Steven is the one speaking, but the other people are with him on their side of the computer, and they're kind of explaining to Ada what's going on, and she gets really upset. And she starts saying, this is a mistake, do not write about Pat, do not write about me, I do not want my story being retold by the Forgotten Folio Society, at which point Steven points out that they didn't tell her yet what they were called. She says this, you don't understand, this is dangerous, they say that we don't have to include you in the story, and yeah, she says to refund your patrons, burn the archives, and run. And she's gone. So that's odd. And in a part of it here, Steven says, we were explaining to the other role players that we are a society that gathers stories like this and retells them. It's a mix of truth and fiction. We can give you a copy if you'd like. That's where she gets upset. And because of the part where it says a mix of truth and fiction, now I'm like, what's the truth and what's the fiction? You know what I mean? And where she gets all upset and freaks out, but then they still included her in the story. So I'm kind of wondering if this isn't the part that's the fiction? it's very intriguing and confusing and mysterious, and this is the conclusion. So I'm like, where's the rest of the story? I want to know what the rest of the story is. But I assume that this is all of the story that they had. And so they put together this Project Open Sky package of 4 different parcels, and that's what we've gotten. So I'm intrigued and confused, and I feel like I really want to know the rest of the story, and I want to know if in fact parts are truth and parts are fiction. I would really like to know which are which. I'm assuming that like the letters and the memos and stuff like that, that's all truth. So I'm curious, is this the fictional part, or I don't know. I'm really infuriated now because I want to know more, and this is the final package for Project Open Sky. So this has been really fun. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the packages. I enjoyed the little artifacts and the memos and the Morse code and everything. I thought this was really cool. I thought it was a really fun idea for a subscription service. I definitely enjoyed it, but because of my natural innate curiosity, it's going to drive me nuts now. So I might have to look more into it and see if I can find out any more information, because this is going to bother me now. It was just enough information to be frustrating, and yeah. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. Guys, if you are interested in Forgotten Folios and getting stories like these in the mail for yourself, check out the link in the description box below. They have a bunch of different packages I explained in the first video, but you can go to their Patreon page to see that all for yourself. If you've enjoyed it, check it out. If you've enjoyed the video, please give me a big thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat at Tracey's Basement. Links in the description box below. I'm gonna go be frustrated now. And of course, as always, guys, keep coming back for more Tracey's Basement. Bye!